I'm Jenna with Tiny House Giant Journey. We're here in Ojai, California to tour Vina's tiny house. Let's go take a look.
Welcome!
Wow, it's beautiful in here.
Thank you.
So, take us through your tiny home. This is Vina. She's actually the designer, which is really exciting to be able to go through a tiny home with someone who's living in it and designed it themselves. So, give us a tour.
Thank you. So this is what I call the great room, but it's actually functioning for a lot of different purposes. It's also my guest bedroom because this is my sofa, which actually functions as a bed. And there's storage below here. So I have all my comforters and things in there.
Wow, so is this a custom piece of furniture?
It is. So one of the things I wanted to do was use the local craftsmen in my area so that they can actually have their gifts and, you know, really talented things that they do as part of the tiny house. So my friend Chris McCourtney had helped me design and build this custom sofa, and this cushion is made out of hemp and flax.
Oh wow.
So I custom ordered it.
It's comfy.
It is. It's
stiff.
stiff enough. It's stiff, so you can actually lay down and use it as a bed too.
Yeah.
And I made the proportions exactly to my size so I can sleep on it.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, it's really important that people measure themselves so it's actually customized to their space or to themselves. And another thing is the pillows here are actually done by another friend of mine. Her name is Alicia Morris. And we initially had the concept of trees throughout the space because I love trees and she's an artist of a lot of sketches of trees. So she took her sketches and actually put it on these pillows. 3 of them, and they're just abstraction of trees. And it took her 3 months to self-embroider all of this.
That's amazing.
My dimensions on the exterior of the trailer is 20 feet long, and I have an 18-inch bump out here for my office, so that's beyond the 20 feet length. Mm-hmm. The height is the maximum 13. It's maybe 13'8" as opposed to 13'6". I researched DOT standards for California because I heard it varies from state to state. So I thought, well, it's actually 14 feet for California. So I thought as long as I'm under 14, it's 13'8" is okay. And really, what you and I talked about before is the branches on trees.
Those are the bad guys,
Yeah.
not the overpasses. You have to
Yeah.
worry about the branches.
There's so many of them that are just way below the 13.5.
Yeah, you can't help that though.
I wanted to maximize the width because that was really, really important to give the spaciousness. I didn't see anyone doing it outside of the wheel well. It was always within the interior of the wheel well, and my boyfriend does welding, so he said he can modify the trailer so it's actually maximizing the width.
Right.
And I didn't really see anyone doing that, so I thought, why? why? You know, is there something wrong about doing it? And then he said it should still be strong. It's, you know, because he's actually making it stronger with a box steel tube section instead of just an L flange. So it's actually stronger, and it maximizes my width to about 7'6" inside, and the wheel well is 8'6", right?
I see. So yeah, it's always 8.5 feet to be legal on the road without getting a special permit.
Exactly.
But inside, you're 7'6", you said.
Yeah, so we have the interior wall outside of the wheel wall. Not exactly to the very outside because I accounted for the depth of my exterior lighting and the fascia board on my roof. So I had to think all that all the way through before actually starting the modification on the trailer. And that's one thing that's sort of important in doing a custom tiny house because you have to think your design all the way through way before you finish it. So this is obviously my desk, which I had planned for large size drawings because that's what I do. The beauty of this is now there's shoe storage because you come into the door and my closet is on the other side, but it's so much more convenient to have it right here. My boyfriend and I constantly just hang out here, and when we have to eat, we're always wanting to put something down, and I knew I didn't want to keep it permanently here. So this is actually made out of the leftover cedar siding from the exterior. So my mill worker, Chris McCourtney, had basically just took all the leftover stuff and milled this. And so it slides under here. So it doesn't take up much space, but you still have a surface to put your drinks
That's
and things
perfect.
on. And it's really light.
Mhm.
And you can also turn it like all these different ways. Like kids love this because they have their own table. And they can, kind of sit on it. And
Right, it's a bench seating.
It's a bench seat. It's a table. It's a
all
little
sorts of different
side
things.
thing.
And it's a simple design, but it's beautifully simple, I love that he's hidden the nails
Yeah.
under these wood pieces here. And it must have been thought about beforehand, because how did you know to leave this gap here?
Well, actually, I always wanted to have this kind of sitting above the floor, because that's another kind of little design tip is you want to make things kind of float off the floor so it feels more spacious and light. So there's not much there. It's about 2.5 inches, but it just makes it feel lighter.
Right.
And then this piece is just kind of my dining table.
Right, so you can set out what you're having for dinner, a couple glasses of wine, and then you can eat it here if
Yeah.
you'd like.
Exactly.
Very
it works
nice.
really well. One great thing I love about this is also my fireplace. And oh, can I turn that on?
Sure, yeah, please.
It is getting kind of a little bit cold here.
Oh, what do you think of that, Celise? So it's propane?
It's propane. One of the things that drove my decisions is that I'm solar. So any heating element, obviously, you can't put on electrical because it just takes up too much energy load. So it was obvious that it's going to be on propane. And I wanted a real fireplace, not just a small little heating unit. This is a double wall flue, so the clearance on it is only 1 inch, and I can put it right next to wood, combustible material. So everyone was always concerned about my the adjacency of the wood next to the fireplace, but that's the beauty of this. I don't need to put metal or stone below it. It just could
That's
be.
just how it functions.
Yeah, this whole piece is the most expensive part of my house. This is $3,000 for the fireplace. No, I'm sorry, $2,000 for the fireplace and $1,000 for the flue.
Worth it though?
Oh yeah, no problem. I didn't want any venting right off of the entry. I'm kind of anal about the design of the front, that it's nice and clean. So I didn't want anything kind of detracting from that, like a vent. The kitchen is ironically more spacious than any kitchen I've lived in guest houses. Light is a really important feature, so I have windows strategically located right off of the sink. One of the things that's really important is to make the sink really functional. So it's deep, and it has a gooseneck, which allows you to really put a lot of stuff in here, even within a small footprint. The faucet is with a retractable spray, so you can clean it. You can clean your sink, and it just makes it so much more functional for that reason. This part is my closet, my wardrobe closet. So it's the full length. This is a design from another friend of mine who's an artist, and again, the idea of trees throughout the space with sycamore leaves kind of falling, and it was great because she and I like belabored every single inch of the leaves falling so that it felt really natural. And so behind it is just hanging space for my clothes. So it's just a custom drawer, so it has all my socks and underwear and things. And below it is just more kind of
Storage.
like a drawer of like a armoire. And below it is the toe kick that's more storage. So maximizing every square inch to my tools and things like that. Just a regular RV stovetop. And I could have had a 3-burner, but I'm not like a huge cook. And what I do if I did have a huge dinner party is I have an induction stove here. It's the 3rd stove if I really wanted one, and I could just plug it in because that's what I used before my old guest houses. It's really efficient also. It doesn't use much energy, so I can use it for the tiny house if I really wanted to. The first thing about my bathroom when you enter is the art glass, the beautiful art glass, because again, another friend of mine had designed it with the other person who did my wardrobe closet. And she actually took trunks of sycamore branches and rolled it behind to give the texture that you see here, which gives the privacy behind the glass but still allows light throughout, because when you have a small area like this kitchen, you still want light in every direction as possible. There's also another window in the shower here. And that's really an important feature, I think, in the shower, because it allows you to feel like you're still outside even though you're in a teeny tiny space. And the white tiles also make you feel like more expansive. A lot of tiny housers are concerned about using tile on their shower, but if you make it small enough so that you minimize the cracks and you use flexible grouts, because it is available, you can minimize the possibility of cracking. Because I have moved my tiny house and it hasn't cracked yet.
Right.
It's been more than a year, so it's worked really well. My sink is from IKEA, and basically it's a really even a multifunctional sink, because it serves as a countertop also with, toothbrush if you want to put there, or soap or whatever. I wondered whether or not I needed to have another sink aside from the kitchen sink, but I'm so happy I did that, just because you want to be able to wash your hands and stuff while you're in the bathroom and not have to go to where your food is stored. So the gray water really needs to have biodegradable elements. Right now I have the hose going in through my 2 sinks and my shower, and goes out to feed my grapefruit tree right outside. And so I've noticed that since I moved in a year ago, my grapefruit, which was completely dormant and lifeless, never bore any fruit when my boyfriend was living here for several years. It was practically dead. So now it has all these blossoms of grapefruit, and it just shows that, instead of putting our water down the sewer, you can actually put it towards your landscaping and have it benefit the other plants and trees on your property. My composting toilet is actually hidden most of the time. It's just a plywood top that has storage for the toilet paper below. And when you open it, it basically conceals the composting toilet, which is a simple bucket system. And I use a Separate, which is a product from Sweden, and the bucket is below it. It separates the urine from the solids. I actually don't use this much because according to the county regulations in Ventura, it's not legal. So I have another outdoor toilet that has a septic tank connected to a regular toilet, so I use that. The roof is not a 45 degree, it's a 40 degree angle. So it allows you to maximize your top plate height on the walls. So instead of it being like under 7 feet, my top plate here is about 8 feet.
Wow.
So you have almost a foot on either end. So it's still, fairly usable, and you don't feel that claustrophobic in here because you gain much more space for the head height as a result of it. So when I just crawl into bed at night, just watching the birds and the sky, just kind of move throughout the day, and it just kind of puts things in perspective, like how little you are and how great the universe is. It sounds kind of cliche, but one other note about tiny houses is heat rises, right? So your loft space gets really hot, especially during the summer. So you want to be able to ventilate it and have the cross breeze as much as possible. So it's important to have at least one window operable. So this is a fully openable window. It's a manufacturer from Facro, really great product. It's 2 types of operation, a top pivot and a center pivot. So this right now is a top pivot, so it allows me to open it quite a bit, but then you can adjust it to the other operation, which makes it, let me see if this works, makes it a center pivot. So you can actually clean your windows on the other side. And it's also an egress, so it's a second means of exit, which is required by code in case there's a fire downstairs in your main living space, that you can jump out the window and just escape your loft if you need to. So lots of ventilation and lots of light and being able to see the stars at night. So my fireplace is the most expensive item, and this was the second most expensive item. This is about just under $1,000, but it's so well worth it. I mean,
And what was the total price of your whole?
the total price, including the deck and the solar panels and all the interior furnishings built in, is $40,000, and that includes all the labor that I paid for my friends, and the Habitat Restore items that were reclaimed. So, with everything included, it's actually not bad considering it's everything that you want in a custom house.
And what kind of a house would you have to buy in Ojai for $40,000? What sort of a house would that be?
It wouldn't be a house. It would be a closet. It would be, because land itself would be, just at least hundreds and thousands of dollars. So it would be a shack.
Right. So I love having both of the French doors opening. I mean, I already feel like I'm outside.
Yeah.
It's really like living in an interior space and an
And
exterior
outside.
space.
Yeah, so I can roll my, hi, Sunny. She likes me now.
I know, she
has
loves
the
it.
property. So what I do is I take the table and chairs and roll it out here and roll out my other seating there, and I could have like a full 10-person dining table.
Right.
So it's kind of a great entertainment
It's really
area.
expanded your space, I mean, how much, do you know the square footage of your porch?
Yeah, it's about 80 square feet or so. This is about 16 feet for the length, and this is about another 7 feet. So it's at least double the square footage of my great room. So I have my dining area here most of the time during the summer especially, and just hanging out space. As we go through around the corner here, we have the gray water system. That's a really super simple system. It terminates from the shower below, and then the white hose is just, small, like half-inch opening that goes to my grapefruit tree on the other side there. And as I said, it's now just flourishing like crazy because of the recycled water that's coming out of the tiny house.
And if you wanted to water an entire garden, you could actually poke holes in the hose and weave it through a garden of vegetation.
Exactly. Yeah, you can do not just one tree, but all throughout by just creating so
Yeah, an
about
irrigation
that.
system.
Exactly.
It's really high tech.
You just punch a
Yeah.
hole. My boyfriend actually said you can just use a gutter, like from a roof gutter, and then just create like inlets or offlets so that it just dissipates. So it doesn't acquire all the smelly vapors and stuff. It just naturally ventilates. The siding is cedar, and it's a shiplap joint so that it can expand and contract throughout the season. As you can tell that there's a little bit of a gap in between because it is contracting, and it's still sealed inside because of the shiplap joints. The windows, the detailing on how the siding is attached to the window opening, because he had to really meticulously create it so there's no trim. So the joinery is really precise, and you can tell that there is a difference between the ones that I got as new windows with the flange here versus the ones that don't have a flange, which you really have to do a precision cut around.
You can tell, I mean, everything about this is precise. One thing I swoon over is when all the screws line up perfectly. Like, that is just a real nice design additive. And I love your fascia boards, too. It just adds, like, sophistication to it.
Thanks. That was quite the feat for the people working on it because it's tapered. I wanted to have maximum shading on the windows, so the peak, which is the ridge beam, has more length than at the top plate. So again, more. It's kind of a tricky angle with the roofing and the connecting all the angles together. My boyfriend had a crazy time doing that.
Well, it's those little subtle things that really pull it all together.
Thanks.
You know?
Yeah, and having wonderful people to actually do it for you.
Right.
Yeah, the water comes in through here, and it goes through all the sinks and the shower, And this is my hot water heater. It's a small RV type, and it's, you know, kind of a bread box size that's underneath my cabinetry in the kitchen. And this is just the venting for it. And then back here is my electrical panel. So it's just concealed within one side of the pop-out. And it's a regular, I think it's a 30 amp panel that's DC and AC that's converted with the equipment for the solar panels there. And then the roof is what I call a cool roof. It's a white roof because it doesn't absorb that much heat. It's a natural material that's called Galvalume. It's a combination of galvanized aluminum. And I didn't want to have it as paint because I don't want any additional maintenance. So it's just a natural color, which actually works with the white vinyl windows to kind of balance out the wood siding, because
Right.
otherwise it's all just wood.
You know, I actually saw Venus tiny house when I was only a month into my own build. It was the first tiny house I ever saw, and you had just finished it. And so it's really great to see what, you know, now that you've been living in it for over a year, right?
Yep.
What it's like. And congratulations for not cluttering it up, by the way. It's still beautiful and minimal in there, and just really spacious.
Thank
So,
you, Jenna. Well, I do have a disclaimer. I have other, you know, an office space to have more, you know, clutter in, and I do have a little storage unit that's tiny, so I'm not.
You're too humble. And give yourself the credit.
But thank you. It was a pleasure to give you a tour.
Yeah, and thanks so
again.
much for letting us, you know, go through it and discuss all the little minor details and design
So
tips.
much fun.
thanks,
Thank
Vina.
you. That was so much fun.
Until next time, see you guys later. So, lead us on the journey of the exterior of the house.
The primary concept about the exterior is south-facing.
Sorry.
So that
Lead us on the journey,
Journey of the
of the
exterior.
exterior
you gotta put
house.
stars and stuff behind her.
Yeah.
When she says that.
I'm sorry. You can just go right on into what you were saying.
Someone's phone,
Is that your phone?
Yeah, but I'll ignore it.
Okay.
but can we just? I can hear it. So.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Let's turn it off.
Sally's, quit eating that.
I don't know where it is. Oh, it's over there.
Did you lose your phone in your tiny house?
Turn it off
Okay.
completely.
Ow, ow, ow. Stop eating wood.